right before you started Omaha Public Library, you were the grand prize winner.
I know. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. They called me, and while they called me, I was on my way to the library to get some books. And I was like, "Oh, I'll be right there in 1 minute," because I was already going there. I used to go every 3 days.
Hello and welcome to The Book Drop, Omaha Public Library's podcast about books, our community, and the joy of reading. I'm Maggie Peterson. I'm the Outreach Manager for Omaha Public Library, and I'm joined as always by
Amy Mather, the Partnerships Manager for Omaha Public Library. Welcome to The Book Drop.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Hi.
I am introducing The Book Drop. So I am Amy Mather, the Partnerships Manager, and I am joined by one of my most favorite people.
It's me.
And who are you?
I am Angela Fernandez, and I am a Collection Development Librarian here at the library. And I also am on 2 other podcasts for the library. The New Title Drop.
Yes.
Where we talk about books that are going to come out the following month so you can get your holds list ready. And Libroteca, a podcast in Spanish to let you know about all the Spanish titles we have available.
I love it. So I think what I want to hear a little bit more from you today, just to start our podcast, is like, how did you end up being a librarian and how did you get here to Omaha?
Oh my goodness.
I know. Just a little bit.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
And it's a story that has so many pieces. I don't even know which part to start with. Let's just say that in my youth, I worked in a library for a bit, and I thought it would be really interesting to get just like a master's degree in library science. I didn't even know if I was going to pursue it as a career. I just wanted to do it, and I got a great opportunity. And so I did my master's degree. Then I, flittered off into another career in education, hung out there for a while. And around 2021, I thought it's time for a change. It's time for something different in the world I'm in. And I just am such a fan of the library. I was coming in, I was doing every single program. I was watching, the reading challenge. I did the reading challenge. I was so excited. And also, full disclosure, I knew you and we had great conversations. So there was an opportunity for a librarian. I dusted off my little master's degree and I was like, let's go. And it was amazing because it was like, this is my calling. And I can't believe that I hadn't been here yet.
Sure.
It took me so long to get here, but I'm so grateful. This is the perfect job for me. I was born for it.
I love, love, love hearing your origin story. That's why I wanted you to talk about it, because I do know it. And also, before you even started, you were a reading challenge voracious reader. So you actually took the challenge of the reading challenge, which is what we're just full disclosure. We're going to talk about that in just 1 minute, folks. But you had won.
Yes.
Right before you started Omaha Public Library, you were the grand prize winner.
I know. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. They called me, and while they called me, I was on my way to the library to get some books. And I was like, "Oh, I'll be right there in 1 minute," because I was already going there. I used to go every 3 days. I would go to the library, turn in my books, get the new ones, turn in my books, get the new ones. It was just like such a part of my life. And during COVID, it was just such a beautiful piece of my world to listen to the podcast, to have something outside of just kind of the dread that we were in at the moment.
Sure.
So I'm really grateful to the library, even pre being a person who works here. But now I've been here for almost 5 years.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that.
Yeah, it'll be my anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, happy anniversary almost in May.
I am so excited. It's gone flying by.
Yeah. Well, you personally, I will say you always inspire me with your library story and also your just the way that you talk about books and reading and I feel like every time that you talk about books and you're anywhere in the community, I see how excited that you are and that you get everybody else excited. And I just love it.
I hope so. That's why I say it's my calling, because I cannot stop talking about books. It is such a joy to me to like get people closer to things that they're going to enjoy. I mean, whatever it is, like I love telling people about podcasts and movies and documentaries and anything else, but there's just something about books that like brings the full energy of anything that's possible. And particularly when people say, oh, I want to read, I miss reading, but I just don't know where to start. Or, you know, oh, my reading tastes are really strange, or I only like a certain type of thing. It's, I love it. Challenge accepted. Let's go. You know?
I love it.
Yeah.
And speaking of challenges, thank you for that segue. We are talking about the reading challenge, and specifically, and actually you are involved in creating the reading challenge. And I wondered so today, folks, we are talking about read a book about an immigrant's experience. And I believe that you were the one that, suggested that topic. If I'm remembering that right, we give an opportunity out for staff to submit suggestions, and then it's called down by our collection department to figure out like what we can do and what all the titles that we can suggest for that reading challenge. So why don't you tell folks what the reading challenge is?
Okay.
And we have notebooks at all of our branches, folks. So please go pick one up. They are awesome. They are such a great thing to have. And I'm going to have Angela take the mic and tell us more.
Okay, well, the reading challenge is one of my favorite things. Like I said, I won it before I even worked here. But it's a great way. The booklets are so gorgeous. And this year, our marketing team does an amazing job every year. And this year, it's the first year the booklet is bilingual. It's in Spanish and English. So it gives a lot of opportunity for Spanish speakers to participate, or for non-Spanish speakers who want to become Spanish speakers to participate. And so this booklet, yes, it's available at all of our locations, but additionally, we have everything available online if you don't want to write it out or have an extra thing to carry around. So it gives everyone 12 challenges, one per month, but we have some extras in there just in case one doesn't fit you or you want to try something else. I love the idea of giving yourself something new to read, a concept of like what kind. And let me tell you a secret. I participate in like at least 3 other challenges because I love reading challenges. But what's really important to note is this is something to give you ideas, to give you seeds for your reading, to open you up to things that maybe you might not have been exposed to, or maybe something you really would like to read and this is kind of pushing you, but it's all yours. You can do whatever you want with it. So one of our colleagues is doing the entire challenge in graphic novels, for example.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yes.
I love that.
And, or, you know, some people are like, well, and sometimes I'll confess, I do this sometimes too. I read so many books that I'll go backwards. I'll read a bunch of books and then be like, that fits.
Oh, same.
Yeah. So
sometimes I read all over the place and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that works. I actually even did it for this challenge because I read a lot of books for this specific challenge. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, that book can fit over here. So
yeah, there's like the main thing is this is joyful. It's fun. There's no wrong way to do it. However you want to participate, if you want to write all your titles down, if you want to add different things, if you want to log it online, whatever you want to do, it's available for you. And to me, it's just like a fun joy. It's something that I feel like connects with the things that we were given as kids to do. And we don't have enough opportunities to do as adults.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's what it brings to me. That's why I love it. And in collection development, we're really involved because we want to make sure we have books that will meet the challenges and we have suggestions for patrons.
Yeah. And for this one, I really loved reading. I always take a culinary sort of journey for each of the challenges if possible. So I definitely have one of those, and you have one too, because I can't wait to talk about it. But tell us more about selecting this as a topic and how that came about. You were the one that suggested it, right?
I don't think I was the only one. I think several people suggested it, and also I suggested several topics every year, no matter what. I'm just like, let's read this. So I have tons of ideas, and I love that it's open to the entire system.
Sure.
Anyone in the system can say, this is a challenge we should try. And I think that's a great part.
I love it.
Great part of it. But this challenge is very important to me, I think, because there's so many different dynamics for immigration stories. And I feel like the story of humanity is a story of movement in so many ways. And I love that. I think we forget like all of the context of it, or even, even when we're talking about like genealogy, a lot of that is immigration stories, and also kind of what people's perspectives are, what makes people change their entire lives, change their culture, have to go somewhere where they don't understand the language. Those stories are always really important to me, and all sides of those stories, like what happens on the other side, which is one of the books we're going to talk about. It. What does that create for us here in the United States? A lot of our food culture comes from immigration.
It's gonna say food.
Yeah, food. But all kinds of things that we have, and the more we look into it, the better it is. I think a lot in library school, we had an assignment, and I don't remember what the assignment was, but people brought in so many stories about people coming over from Ireland or from Japan. Like there was a lot of immigrants from Japan in South Florida, which I did not know. And I was living in Florida at the time. We have Yamamoto Road and all these other places where there's a huge influence. And I hate it when those things get lost. I feel like there's such beautiful dynamic parts of our history.
Sure.
And so I think these stories help us keep those pieces.
And however we can capture those stories.
Yes.
In a book form, podcast form, whatever form.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like one of the books that I thought about talking about, and it's one of those books I can't stop talking about, is The Antidote. And it's I love that book so much.
Oh, we haven't talked about that. And I love that book as well.
So I talk to people a lot about that book because it's like a Nebraska story, right?
Sure.
But there's a lot of feeling about what it means to the people who immigrated to Nebraska.
Right.
So to me, it's an immigrant story too. And for those of you who haven't read it, The Antidote it's fiction, it's Dust Bowl, it's Nebraska,
it's floods,
it's witchcraft. There's so much in it. It's such an amazing book. It's very well researched. But to me, one thing that was really impactful to me was how during the time that people were migrating away from these areas because of the Dust Bowl, that they were not welcomed in other areas.
Right.
Or, the different people that they were having problems with within the United States, remembering that they had immigrated 2 generations before. And there's very beautiful reflection on this in this book. And so there's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you hit the nail on the head when you talk about the layers. And that's really like a lot of these stories, some of the books I'm going to talk about is so many layers and so many stories. Like I think even with families, everybody has their own story about what happened and what that looks like through their lens. And I find that fascinating, even when I think about like my own family and like how we talk about growing up and what that looked like for each of us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So do you want to kick us off and tell us about one of your books?
Absolutely. The first book, and this will be on some of the lists. Some of our listeners will recognize this because I talk about this book pretty frequently. But I think it's just, if you want to start a story, and this is a great way to do it. Once I Was You by Maria Hinojosa is incredible. She's a journalist, so I love it when journalists write books because they know how to get your attention. They are great storytellers. And it's her memoir, about growing up in the United States as a Mexican immigrant. Like her father immigrated here when she was very young. She was like, I don't remember her age, but maybe 4 around there, and brought the whole family. He was a professor, and growing up here and living in between two cultures. And so this is her story. But because she's a reporter, she also talks about the history of immigration in the United States and does it in such an informative way. I've read a lot about this history, and I learned so much from this book. It's also very passionate. It's very personal to her. And if you don't know who she is, she started the radio show Latino USA. She's known all around for her reporting, and including like the Latinx community into kind of a lot of the reporting that we talk about, because sometimes different communities get bypassed when we talk about certain reporting. So that's what she's known for. She came to Omaha once, and I just cried when I heard her speak. And when her book came out, I said, I have to read this book. And I was just so touched by it. It's so beautiful. But the title, Once I Was You, comes from the fact that it starts present day. She's in an airport, and she sees these kids that are getting taken away by people who are clearly not their parents. And she goes and she gets close to them to talk to them, to kind of ask them where they're going, and to, see because there's no parents around. And so she's worried about them. And she likens it to when she first got here with her mom, when they walked up to the immigration agent, she had like a little rash, which is a baby. Her mom was carrying her, and they tried to put her in quarantine, and her mother threw a fit. And they ended up not doing it. But if they would have done it, like, she could have been separated from mom, what could have happened, and this and the other. And so she reflects about her experience and what that means if she would have been separated from her parents, and what happened in this. So I think it's very current and historical at the same time, and it's also very personal. And that's what I think is so beautiful about anything that's like memoir based, is that you're getting a person's actual story, their lives.
Right. Yeah. I love that. I am going to talk about, I just finished listening to this as we were experiencing a blizzard in Nebraska, because why not have a blizzard in March? And it's Love, Loss, and What We Ate by Padma Lakshmi. And I know Angela and I talked before we started recording. Of course, like every book that I'm suggesting, she's already read, and she had picked one that I was going to talk about, which is great because we're going to talk about it together. I can't wait. Yes. But with Padma Lakshmi, probably most folks know her as the one of the judges on Top Chef, which I've watched a number of times over the years, but I actually never really knew what her backstory was. I didn't know anything about her.
Well, I always wondered.
Yeah.
I knew she was a model.
Right.
I'm like, why is she on this chef show? Like not like questioning her, but like this is, I didn't know, like, what's that story? And I knew she was married to Salman Rushdie, which was so weird to me. Like,
same, Angela. Yeah. I don't think I actually knew this until I started listening. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yes.
Yeah. So she has so many layers in her just short little life that listening to her memoir was like quite incredible, and I learned so much about her and about her really awesome mom. I mean, she
absolutely
grew up as a her mom was a single mom, and she they just really worked hard. Her mom worked hard, put herself through school to make sure her daughter was going to have a better life. They were back and forth between India. I mean, she sent her daughter over to India over the summers, and she had this like just lovely like connection with her grandfather that I think was so amazing, and they were so connected, and they snuck around and ate ice cream even though he was diabetic, which she later found out. But like it was, I loved their relationship, and I also loved the way that she would weave in all these food aspects throughout all of her stories, which I absolutely love. And I'm so want to make chutney and everything else, and pickles, and all the spices. Like, I am fascinated by the very complex nature of their food and how delicious it is, and what it means for their culture as well. I love all of that.
Absolutely. I think that this book was it. I related to it a lot because I was born in the United States, but I went to Mexico every summer.
Yes.
And so that feeling of kind of coming and going and food is also a big part, of where I am.
Yes.
Food is a part of where I am. Also made me think of Crying in H Mart.
Oh, yes.
Which
of course.
It's also another beautiful memoir.
So much.
That has a lot of connection to like your mother and the food that your mother made for you, and like what does it mean to be a person in a society that doesn't necessarily eat that food, and your home is a different food.
Right.
There's just something so beautiful about that through line for me that both of those books like really spoke to me, even though these are like countries that are very different.
Right.
All three of them, but yes, so I love that aspect of her book. There's also some other themes that were just very interesting to me about like how she wasn't believed about her health struggles.
Oh my,
like that.
That made me furious.
Yeah,
really. So she is a advocate of women really understanding their health around. She has endometriosis, and she didn't know she had it, and she was in so much pain, which I will say women sometimes have a high threshold of pain. And though I remember she was talking about this in her memoir, she said when she finally was in so much pain, she went to a doctor and he's like, I'm not even sure how you're actually functioning right now. And she was off to some premiere and yeah.
The shocking part was to me that she added up all the days that she lost from her life.
Yes, Angela. I felt that.
So
I felt
sad.
that really to my core, because I love some efficiencies, and I also love like my time and dropping in, and I felt that for her.
Yeah.
I really did. And she's had also, I think what was fascinating about her memoir too is like how, she was a model. She also was on Top Chef. She also, what else did she do? She was on TV. She was, she wrote books, and
a lot of cookbooks. That's where it came from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so the food really became the through line for her, is like really where like she is the best. And what I love is like I know that you probably feel this too, Angela. Like, it's like when the doors open, you're there at the very right time, and you're like, oh, I'm here at the library working. This is what I was always meant to do the work. And I love that. And I feel the same right now in my current job. I was like, oh, yep, this is what I was meant to do. So I feel like she kind of relates to that a lot throughout, which I love. Yeah.
It is a great story.
Yeah, it really is. Highly recommend. What's your next book?
Well, we have to go to Tastemakers. We can't go from her book to
I know it's true.
Else.
It's true. And I will say, folks, that Angela told me about this book years ago, and I think I picked it up and started reading it, and I got distracted by something. Who knows? I don't even know what it was. And I didn't pick it up until recently, until this reading challenge, and I picked it up as an audiobook and was blown away by this book.
It is an incredible book. So basically, it's called Tastemakers by Mayuk Sen, and I cannot wait for him to write another book. Like, please give us more. It is 8 women, right?
Yes.
8 women who shaped cuisine in the United States as immigrants.
Yes.
And how their food has become such a big part of our culture and our cuisine, but also like their stories to me were so impactful.
Yeah.
I heard about it was on a list, and it was, March 8th. It was Women's Day, and I just read the whole book in one day, like 3 years ago, I think.
I love it.
And it was just so remarkable because their stories are all so very different, but they were a big, or are, like also a lot of them are recent.
Yeah.
Which was also really cool for me to hear. But like just these women trying to figure out a new world, a new life, a new culture. Where do I buy my things? Who do I talk to? Oh, and also I'm just going to create this entire, food base for people to like partake in, and it's going to spread. And some of them were really successful. Some of them were just, in their actual space and what they did spread.
Right.
But yeah.
And some of it was survival. Like, this is what I have to do to like put food on the table, literally. Yeah. And yeah, I'm so grateful that you told me about that book and that I finally listened to it. And it was just really beautiful.
It's just to me, it's very exciting to see these stories. And I think there are also some cuisines that people kind of expect or they don't know. Like, even when we're talking about Padma Lakshmi, like, she's very clear about like Southern Indian cuisine, which is not the same as other kinds of Indian cuisine. So it's the same thing with Mexican cuisine. Like, people think it's one thing, but there's so much diversity within those cuisines.
For sure.
So yes, I love that about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Julia Child is randomly in it.
I know.
Like, all of a sudden in the middle of the book, it's like, break, Julia Child. And I'm like, what? I mean, I guess she went to France, I guess.
Yes.
I guess that's how that fits or whatever. But it also, I think it created kind of a comparison point for people.
Right.
Because they know her.
Of course.
So, yeah. So I think it kind of like added, but it was just, I was just like, what is she doing? What?
I know. Exactly. No, it was a great book for sure. Okay. Tell me your next pick.
Okay. So I really wanted to bring more fiction books.
Yeah.
And there's so much good fiction out there. But I really love memoirs and nonfiction. So I tend to read those more often. So let me just tell you, there's tons of great fiction out there that will fit this challenge, and particularly in YA. And so I did bring one.
Okay.
And it's called I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. I really appreciate this book because it's not only talking about the immigrant experience, but like the next generation.
Right.
And there is this big thing where, your parents sacrifice so much to come here. Your parents do all this work. They know a different kind of life. And so there's so many expectations. You have to succeed. You have to do better. They didn't do all this to, whatever else. I never felt that in my life, but that is a very big thing. And I think it's really beautiful that authors are writing about it now for that next generation of like, you can't be perfect. Like, you can't meet every expectation and whatever else. So this is a really nice YA book to me that, kind of deals with that. How do you rebel and how do you deal with the guilt of it? Because you also know that you're responsible for, making sure that you fulfill your parents' dreams. Like, that is so much pressure. And when you're rebelling as a teenager normally, it's already something you need to do. But on top of it, there's just a lot more to contend with. And then there's also other aspects of it. Like, if you are the cultural translator for your family or even the language translator for your family. So you're having to be an adult while you're still formulating yourself as a person.
Right. And speaking of fiction, I am not done with this book, but I love it so much. It's been on my shelf for quite a long time. And then sometimes I don't know if this happens to you, Angela, you're like, I probably read that book, but I'm reading it again because I don't remember if I read it.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I'll be like, oh, I finished this book yesterday. What did I think about it? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's already gone. I don't know why.
And plus, like, as you get older, you have different ways that you read the book and take the story in. So it just looks differently. So right now I'm reading How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents by Julia Alvarez, and very classic book.
Yep.
And
also very like YA centered.
Yeah, I guess, because it's all the stories from the daughters and of course the parents. And can I just say, like, when there's a lot of people in a book and they have like a family tree at the beginning of it, I refer to it constantly, and it's like my favorite thing. So thank you.
I've started creating family trees even when they don't provide it. I've started writing down the names and being like sister of mother, because I lose the names when I read books
Same.
all the time. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was just a me problem because
No.
I'm like, okay, wait a minute, who's this person again? And if I'm reading it via an ebook, it's easy because I just search it. But if it's a physical book, I'm oh no, it's really bad.
Or an audiobook. You have to like, where do I go?
Oh right,
You know?
exactly.
So yes, I
Yeah.
started writing them down.
Yeah. So the Garcia sisters, Carla, Sandra, Yolanda, and Sophia. So they flee from Dominican Republic after their father was perhaps in an attempt to overthrow something, which is super interesting because that was something that happened. And I lived in Santa Fe in the 90s, and one of my really good friends, and this is when I sometimes wish like, oh my gosh, why didn't I really drop into the story more or hear about it more? And this is some of the regrets that I have in my life, not getting the full understanding. But my friend's father was kidnapped, and they immigrated from Chile. And his father was gone for months and months and months, but they immigrated to the United States, ended up in Santa Fe. And his father finally came. And
Which is amazing.
It is.
In the Chilean dictatorship, they just disappeared people.
Yeah.
And they never came back.
Yes,
mostly,
exactly. So he was he's still a really good friend of mine today. We went to University of New Mexico, like even in graduation, as many people that went there, we were right beside each other, which is hilarious. He's such a wonderful person. And so the story is about how they immigrated to the United States and I think about this too. So there's 4 sisters and each has this very different perspective of like what it means from them to come from their country and sort of losing some of like who they are and becoming truly losing their accent or trying to fit in more. And so it's so the layers here really made me think about everybody's experiences immigrating to a different country, especially the United States, and what that could like look like and mean. And the story is so interesting because it's over 30 years and it takes place in the present time and then works backwards, which I find that a really unique way to storytell like what has happened and like going back and figuring out like their trials and tribulations of like moving around and assimilating and all of that. And I absolutely love it. So I'm almost done. So almost done. I would have been done, but
anything by Julia Alvarez, I will always recommend.
For sure.
In her most recent book, which I also loved and recommended a ton, it's the story of going back because it's an older retired writer. Same thing. She was young and family immigrated from the Dominican Republic, but she spent her whole life in the United States. Mm-hmm. She's an English professor and she, no, she's not an English professor. She's a writer. She's a writer and her friend kind of loses her mind because of all the stories she didn't finish. So she decides to go back to the Dominican Republic. She has some land that she inherited and she buries the stories that she can't finish. It's called The Cemetery of Untold Stories. That's the name of the book. And
I haven't read it yet.
And so, I highly recommend it. It's beautiful. But anyway, so she buries the stories so they won't come back, but they won't stay down. But the reason this is part of this conversation is she's an immigrant again.
Right.
Now right. She's not Dominican enough.
Yeah.
Now she's back and she's seen as a United Statesian, even though that's where she started. And there's immigration stories go in all directions. Right?
Sure.
And so I really think that the way that Julia Alvarez writes about our experiences between cultures is very apt. She also has a book called Yo, which is kind of a metaphor. It's short for Yolanda.
Yeah.
Yo means me. And it's every single person's perspective of this one person.
Oh,
and kind of it's kind of like
more
a
360
layers of yes. So she does it better than almost anyone. She's even done it in relation to Nebraska, like the Cafecito story, and that was real. Like her and her husband started a coffee place back in the Dominican Republic, like, because he was a farmer from Nebraska, and they were like, there were farms in the Dominican Republic that were, losing business. They weren't surviving. So she went back and they infused those farms, because as a Nebraska farmer, he knew how to
Sure.
Connect the economy. So she sold the coffee here, and they worked at so she just,
I did not know about the Nebraska.
oh my goodness, the Cafecito Story. It's a really tiny book. It's bilingual. Highly recommend.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I love her work so much, and she has such a great way of naming these things, and also talks a lot about, the reason they left. The Trujillo dictatorship was
Yes.
horrific. They had to run for their lives.
Right. Yeah. And think about how unimaginable that is, literally. Thinking how that I mean, I just can't even, it's so bad.
With children.
I know.
With 4 daughters.
Right.
It's a lot.
Trying to navigate everything that is so unfamiliar around you.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have one more pick for us?
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to nonfiction again. This is called The Great Escape by Saket Soni.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the author being interviewed on a news show, and I was like, what is this story? And it's pretty recent. What happened was, because other immigration stories are not necessarily permanent immigration stories. Sometimes people come here to do projects or work, and that's what happened. Basically, after the storms in the South, they had to, around Louisiana and all that, they had to recreate a certain kind of infrastructure, particularly for oil rigs and stuff like that. That's very specialized knowledge that you can't just have anybody come in and do. And so there were workers from India who specialized in this and who would go to countries like Saudi Arabia and stuff. But there were these people who had this idea, well, the United States needs to do this. Let's have this program. They can specialize in this. They can get these visas, and they can come in and just do this work, and then they go back to India. So they did that. But the people in India sold this to people as a way to get a permanent resident card. Mm-hmm. They also charged them, which is illegal.
Right.
They had them pay to get these visas, quote unquote. And then they said they would have everything taken care of when they came down here. And they were basically warehoused in this terrible space. And they were trapped because they couldn't get out. It's just a terrible, terrible story. Very recent story. And Saket Soni is this reporter. And people were like, oh, we know that you speak Hindi. You need to help us. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he just comes across the story where nobody is helping these poor people who are trapped here, who were lied to, who aren't getting the money that they were supposed to get, who aren't getting the food they're supposed to get, who are helping rebuild the infrastructure of our businesses. And so they end up doing this huge march. And it's an amazing story. It's an incredible story, but also a reminder that there's a lot of different ways that immigration happens. And there's a lot of places for, scams and people to be taken advantage of. And, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible story. And again, he's also a reporter. So the writing, excellent writing. Also needs to write another book, please. Yes.
And before we leave, I would love, if you were going to talk about something in and around Omaha and or Nebraska that people should visit or connect with, or if it's a museum or food or anything that would really delight and also immerse somebody into somebody's a different experience, what would that be?
Oh, what a question. I am
sorry, that was totally.
I am not prepared for this.
I know, there wasn't in the notes.
There is so much.
I know.
I really love living in Omaha, and I think particularly going back to our food conversation, particularly with food, we are so privileged to have so many different kinds of foods and places to eat and experiences. So it would be hard to pick a place. I feel like so much pressure. I definitely have to say, of course, Coffee Alley. If you want to go to a Mexican-owned coffee shop, I love it there. So there's one. I really love, for Indian food, I really love Percy Biryani. Like, if I'm thinking of just like foods, I'm not thinking of like museums or spaces or anything. I'm just like thinking like, where do I want to go?
And I'm going to be so hungry after this episode.
It's lunchtime. It's perfect. Lunchtime. It's perfect. And there are also so many. Casa del Guarache is one of my favorite spots to go eat, and like Mexican food in Omaha too, and they're amazing. So
awesome.
Yeah, so those are some of the places. If I'm going to say, where should you go? Like, there's so many to do here. Yeah,
there is so much to do, and that's what I love about Omaha. I feel like you can walk out your door and there's like 4 million things going on at the same time, and you have to make decisions on what you're going to do, and that's can be difficult. But what a great thing that is to make so many wonderful decisions. Like, I'm going to get this thing, or I'm going to eat here, or whatever. Yeah,
it's like a small big city.
It is.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because it's also not like that stressful. Like, I have to do a million things. It's
For
like,
sure,
I have possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What about you? Like, what are your places?
Oh my gosh, definitely. Let's see. I mean, I love all the food and all. I mean, wherever I can explore more. I am excited to actually go back to El Museo Latino because I know they've been remodeling for the past, I don't even know how many years. It's been a while. It's been a minute, but they've had so many phenomenal exhibitions there. And I even when I first moved here in 2008, I remember going there and I was like, oh my gosh, they have Frida Kahlo just like hanging on the wall. Was blown away. So I think that's something I'm very interested in heading back to go see how they transform the space.
Yeah, I would love that too.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll go together.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go eat somewhere. Road trip.
Okay, we've got our whole day planned.
Exactly.
When are they opening?
I know, exactly. Angela, thank you so much for being willing to come on to the podcast, which I know that you always will, and we will always ask you, and maybe more than once, so just be prepared. We love having you on the Book Drop, and we love that you do the other 2 podcasts because we want to know about all the new things. And thank you for reaching the community in folks that are speaking Spanish and want to hear all that. And like, I hear from the community how grateful they are for that podcast. So I'm so
grateful to be able to make it. Like, thank you for inviting me. Like I said, it's my calling. I could talk about books all day. I could do 10 podcasts a day.
Yeah.
It makes me joyful.
Yes.
All the time. So thank you. I really appreciate being here.
Absolutely. And folks, if you haven't chimed in yet, we would love to hear your answers to our query of the month. What are you planting in your garden this season? Very excited to hear about that. And we're trying to figure it out in our house, what we're planting. We'll know when it's time to plant. That's how we make our decisions.
Every book, resource, or thing that we mentioned that we can link to on the internet can be found in list form in our episode description. So if you missed something we talked about, check out that list.
The Book Drop is produced by Omaha Public Library. Our theme music is Trapped in Amber, courtesy of the band Lucid Fugue. Don't forget to subscribe to The Book Drop on your favorite podcast app and like and follow Omaha Public Library on social media.